And I want to request you to stay with us on the broadcast. Anil Dubey from RLD is with us on the show. Anil ji, namaskar. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Thank you for being a part. A very important day. Important Bharat Ratna awards have been conferred on MS Swaminathan, Narasimha Rao, Chaudhary Charan Singh. Your thoughts on the legacies being finally recognized?
देखिए, ये देश के करोड़ों करोड़ किसानों का, शोषित वंचित वर्ग के लोगों का, पिछड़ों का, अति पिछड़ों का, जिनके लिए स्वर्गीय चौधरी साहब जीवन भर समर्पित रहे, उनका सम्मान है। ये सारे वर्ग के लोग, किसान, शोषित वंचित वर्ग के लोग, पिछड़े वर्ग के लोग, सभी बहुत दिनों से ये मांग कर रहे थे कि इस देश के किसानों के मसीहा स्वर्गीय चौधरी साहब को ये सम्मान दिया जाए। आज भारत सरकार ने, इस देश की राष्ट्रपति ने स्वर्गीय चौधरी साहब को भारत रत्न से सम्मान दे करके इस देश के करोड़ों करोड़ किसानों का, शोषितों का, वंचित वर्ग के लोगों का, पिछड़ों का मान बढ़ाया है। क्योंकि चौधरी साहब ने पिछड़ों को, अति पिछड़ों को, शोषित वंचित तबकों को और देश के किसानों को राजनीति में शिखर तक पहुंचाने का काम किया था, उनको सम्मानित करने का काम किया था। उनके सम्मान के लिए वर्षों से ये मांग चली आ रही थी। राष्ट्रीय लोकदल के लोग, देश के किसान मांग कर रहे थे। आज ये मांग पूरी की गई है। हम भारत सरकार के निर्णय का, देश के राष्ट्रपति जी के निर्णय का स्वागत करते हैं। ये सम्मान योग और सराहनीय कदम है।
अनिल जी, आपको क्यों लगता है इतने दशक, इतना लंबा समय क्यों लग गया? चौधरी चरण सिंह, उन्होंने किसानों के लिए, शोषित वर्ग के लिए जो किया वो तो जग जाहिर है। उसके बारे में बातें हुई हैं, किताबें लिखी गई हैं, कई लेख किए गए हैं, बहुत सारे इस तरह के प्रोग्राम्स किए गए हैं, मगर भारत रत्न
हमने कहा कि ये सम्मान उनको बहुत पहले मिलना चाहिए था, लेकिन भारत सरकार ने, इस देश की महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी ने आज निर्णय लिया, हम उसका स्वागत करते हैं। ये जो है, इन्होंने जो भी निर्णय लिया, इससे इस देश के किसान खुश हैं। इस देश के किसानों का, शोषित वंचित तबके के लोगों का मान बढ़ाया गया।
एक और प्रश्न भी है, क्योंकि हम चुनाव के काफी निकट हैं, कि बीजेपी और आरएलडी में किसी तरीके का चुनाव के पूर्व गठबंधन हो सकता है।
देखिए, ये फैसला करना हमारे राष्ट्रीय नेतृत्व का काम है। हमारे राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष चौधरी जयंत सिंह जी जो भी फैसला करेंगे, पार्टी उनके साथ है। जो भी उनका फैसला होगा उसको हम स्वीकार करेंगे।
अनिल जी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए। थैंक यू फॉर जॉइनिंग अस ऑन द शो। थैंक यू फॉर बीइंग अ पार्ट। I want to cut across to my colleague Pallavi, who's with us on the show. Pallavi, yesterday here in the national capital, there were certain parts where there was a farmers' agitation. Farmers, the requirements or the needs of the farming community, the kind of concerns that they have raised, it has been a sustained social movement for many, many years. We saw the backlash that was once witnessed, and the 3 farm laws had to be withdrawn by the government that time. But the timing of the awards, how important is it, especially with the likes of Chaudhary Charan Singh, with a legacy of working for the farmers and the underprivileged, being recognized by Bharat Ratna?
There are multiple fronts, Anusha. I mean, we are only talking about the western Uttar Pradesh. We are talking about the fact that the government is obviously trying to reach out to the farmers, and in that brief note, which has also been put out by way of government sources, that this is the Prime Minister and the government's messaging that the farmers matter. Let's not also forget Punjab. I mean, this is also a time when there's speculation of some kind of an alliance happening between the Shiromani Akali Dal and the BJP. And remember, the Akali Dal had walked out of that coalition with the BJP on the farm laws issue. The government has taken back the farm laws, and this perhaps opens the way, this kind of messaging that this government is pro-farmers, also perhaps paves the way for an easier, mind you, for the Akali Dal to come along with the BJP, because Akali Dal at the end of the day has, you know, Bhatinda, Lamba and all those areas. That's their strong point, and they would also have to convince their voters that what is it that you've changed.
Dr. Soumya Swaminathan is also joining us on the show. Dr. Swaminathan, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, and a big congratulations, that honor being conferred on MS Swaminathan. Your thoughts, ma'am?
Good afternoon. Naturally, we are very pleased and honored by this recognition of the Bharat Ratna, which is the highest civilian award that the Government of India can bestow, and the Prime Minister's announcement. My father would have been very, very, I think, happy and satisfied had he been alive. But throughout his life, he actually did not expect any reward. He worked for his own satisfaction and for seeing the results on the ground and for the change that he brought in people's lives. And I think that the award today is a recognition of his entire life's work, which he has devoted to the citizens of this country, especially the poorest in this country.
Absolutely. Ma'am, today I believe is the day we must talk about the contributions of Mr. MS Swaminathan, and I believe 1 hour is not enough to talk about it. But if you were to, remember his legacy very fondly, especially the work that he's done for the farmers, for the underprivileged in this country, what is it that you would want the younger generation to remember?
I think he was a scientist. He was a trained scientist. He was a very good geneticist. He could have excelled in any field, that he chose to be. He could have continued to write academic papers and publish and get a lot of international recognition.
Yeah.
But instead, he chose to solve a problem that the country was facing, which was famine, regular famines, and the need to import food. And he decided that food security was the greatest need of the country at that time. And so I think the message really that he also used to always say is that a revolution comes about only when you marry science with policymakers and with society. In this case, it was the farmers. So it was the farmers, the scientists, and the policymakers and the politicians working together that resulted in the Green Revolution, which made us food secure within a very short period of time.
Yeah.
And after that, also he continued to work on the big challenges that India as well as the world face in terms of climate change, in terms of ecological destruction, loss of biodiversity, and the fact that still there are so many people in the world who don't have, healthy and nutritious food.
Yes,
so we may be food secure, we're not necessarily nutrition secure. And that kept driving him, till the very end.
Absolutely. Dr. Swaminathan, it's always a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us on the broadcast.
Thank you.
My colleague Aman Sharma continues to remain with us on the broadcast. Aman, for example, Dr. MS Swaminathan and the manner in which he ensured that today we have a food security program in our country. It's the priority of the government to ensure that food grains reach every individual and nobody sleeps hungry in this country. Even during COVID, during the pandemic, we ensured, the nation together ensured that. And thanks to scientists like these who worked tirelessly with their genius, grit and determination for a green revolution.
Well, absolutely, Anusha. MS Swaminathan is somebody who should have maybe been given the Bharat Ratna many years back. His contribution to the India's farming sector, to the farming reforms, the whole MSP formula that the government is now implementing, the Modi government has implemented in letter and spirit of the MS Swaminathan report. This is something that should have happened long back, and that has been the hallmark, of the Modi government. Be it awarding meritorious people who have contributed in a big way to the country's political, social roadmap. Being recognized now and making these awards, I would like to make that point again, making these awards truly above politics. Look at the list of Bharat Ratnas. Mr. L.K. Advani and Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, also Mr. Karpuri Thakur and Pranab Mukherjee, Padma Vibhushans to Mr. Mulayam Singh, Sharad Pawar, also to Kalyan Singh, Murli Manohar Joshi, Tarun Gogoi. A Padma Bhushan was offered to Left Buddhadev Bhattacharya, which he politely refused to accept. Yeah. But it was still offered to one of the topmost left leaders. So this has been, that has blurred the political lines since 2015. We have seen how conferring the country's top civilian honors, to those who have excelled in public service across any boundaries. The merit has overtaken petty politics, and the Modi government is not shy to acknowledge its adversaries even. Going into areas where the Congress has chosen not to tread, reflects in the choices of politicians, I would say. The Congress, the left, the Samajwadi Party, the NCP, those who have been picked for the awards in the last 9 years, and we see that, because there is a lot of talk about Mr. L.K. Advani being given the Bharat Ratna, but also Mr. Karpuri Thakur, the torchbearer of socialism, has been given the Bharat Ratna. Mr. L.K. Advani, of course, is the proponent of the Hindutva politics in the 1990s. Government restored to both Mandal as well as Kamandal politics schools of thought by rewarding both Mr. Karpuri Thakur and Mr. L.K. Advani within a gap of 15 days. When the demand for Bharat Ratna for Mr. Thakur, Karpuri Thakur as well as Chaudhary Charan Singh has existed since 2000. Both Nitish Kumar, Lalu Prasad, all leading politicians of UP have been asking for this. So why did Congress not choose to acknowledge them? This is the big question which is rising today. And, especially not acknowledging someone, a former Prime Minister like Mr. Narasimha Rao in the Congress reign. Why did Congress not give him the Bharat Ratna? Somebody who, along with Manmohan Singh, brought this liberalized regime in India. It has taken a BJP government under Mr. Modi to award Mr. Narasimha Rao Bharat Ratna now.
Well,